Hi, I'll be speaking about foundation brushes today. I have 13 brushes to go over, so I'll try to make this as quick as possible. I do want to start off by saying that these are not all Fude, of course. You can tell that some of them are synthetic, some of them are American, some of them are Japanese, etc. The reason being is because I use liquid foundations mostly, and synthetics are actually best used with liquid formulas. It's not a good idea to use lots of natural hairs with cream or liquid products. I mean, you can use them, but they just soak up more product, and I think it's definitely like more unsanitary and worse for the bristles overall if the natural hairs are soaked with liquid and cream products for longer as opposed to synthetic fibers. So let's start off with my favorite foundation brush of all time, the Tarte Airbrush. It's this short little stubby brush right here. The hairs are very short. So since they're so short, it allows for great buffing motion, great overall full coverage. It does give medium to full coverage, so I love this brush to bits. It's one of those brushes that you can, when you're in a rush, you just dab the foundation onto your hand, dab like this, and then just rub all over your face, and it smooths everything over your face very quickly and easily. I'm always about getting out the door as fast as possible, so this is definitely a holy grail brush for me. Next up is the Tarte Air Buffer. This one has longer bristles, so generally speaking, if the bristles are longer, it means that the product will not soak in the brush as deeply as quickly, but yeah, I forgot to mention that. This one, it doesn't silk down all the way to the bottom, but it is a pain to wash. It takes a lot of elbow grease to wash this brush, and it takes like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 days to dry. For the Air Buffer, I would say it takes around the same amount of time to dry, but if you can see here, they're both very dense. It's just the Air Buffer is less densely packed than the Airbrush. This one seems to have less movement. This one's okay. It's not like the best brush in the world. It's definitely not holy grail status for me, so I would actually recommend the Air Buffer over Airbrush over the Airbrush. Sorry, Airbrush over the Air Buffer. They need to, I don't know, name their brushes some differently. Yeah, so this is an okay brush. It's also hard to wash, as you can see. I already washed this, but there's still some foundation stains left over. And after that, I'd like to go with this Artisan Artist number, I think it's like SGP21, number 21. This is actually produced, it's produced in collaboration with Chikuhodo, and it's made out of, I think this is, so they used to be, these like flat foundation brushes used to be made out of Kolinsky, but now they're made out of Weasel. I'm not sure exactly what my Chikuhodo one is made out of. I think it's Weasel. Anyways, this one's actually made out of Kolinsky. The US recently banned Kolinsky, which is why Hakuhodo and all the other Kumano Fude companies no longer import them into the United States. But if you were lucky enough to purchase them before the ban happened, then you can, yeah, you have hold of it. This is okay. So I'm generally not a fan of flat shaped foundation brushes like the paddle shape or anything like that, but I did want to give these a try. Usually the ones that I've tried are, let's see, they're synthetic, so I don't know, like I'm just not a fan of like the synthetic flat paddle shapes. But Weasel is supposed to be, or Kolinsky, this one's Kolinsky. Kolinsky is supposed to be easier, and like it's not that soft, but I wouldn't say it's scratchy either. It's I'd give it like a 6 out of a 10 in terms of softness. This applies foundation okay. It's not like the best brush out there. Like I would say that it doesn't cover my pores exactly as flawlessly as like the Tarte brushes does, but yeah, it's okay. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this one in general. I do have to give a forewarning though, for Kolinsky brushes, for some reason they smell really weird when you use them for the first few times, just like when you're washing scroll brushes for the first few times, it has this rodent scent. And the G12, I actually tested the Artisan and Artist brush and the G12 on two sides of my face. So I actually like the finish of the Chikuhodo, sorry, this is the Chikuhodo G12. I like the finish of this one more than the Artisan Artist, even though they're both made by Chikuhodo. I believe the G12 that I have is actually weasel hair instead of Kolinsky. And when they say weasel, they don't specify. So, because Kolinsky is actually a type of weasel, you know, like Sable and Kolinskys are both types of weasels, but I have a suspicion that this Chikuhodo G12 was actually made out of sable hair. It didn't smell, and it covered my pores more nicely than the Artisan and Artist brush. Next up, we have the IT Cosmetics, what is this called? The LBD foundation brush from their Velvet Luxe line, the 302. The brushes, okay, the fibers, the synthetic fibers on this are extremely soft. I would say it's probably one of the softest synthetic fibers I've ever felt, and which is pretty incredible because like synthetic brushes are already quite soft, but this is very soft. It has a nice weight to it. The whole brush is, I don't know, it's just very weighty, so it doesn't feel hollow. It feels very luxurious and not cheap at all. I think the only thing is that like it applies foundation nicely too, so I mean, maybe nowhere as nice as the Tarte Airbrush, but it does apply foundation quite nicely. It's just that the product will eventually keep accumulating into the bristles, and that's the con of this brush, that you'd have to wash it a lot more than you'd have to wash the other synthetic types of foundation brushes, because I think due to the synthetic fibers, like these hairs are just, for some reason they soak up and they absorb more product, and then they get kind of like clumpy. Yeah, they get kind of clumpy, and then you have to wash it more often. So I actually don't use this brush that much. The IT Cosmetics brush that I do use more often is this one. This is the Heavenly Luxe Flat Top Buffing Foundation Brush, number 6. It's from, I think it's from like it's their Heavenly Luxe line. And these brushes are not cheap whatsoever. I think this one is like $48 or $58, and then this one is like almost $40. But this one is okay. It's just like your typical flat top brush. It's pretty soft. It's not as soft. It's hard to tell. I think the LBD Velvet Luxe one is a little softer, but yeah, it's soft, and there's a good amount of flexibility in the head. It's not like super stiff or dense. So if you can see here, it has a good amount of movement to it. It's also another one of those super quick and easy brushes. You just, dab the foundation all over your face and you're done, except the finish. I don't like it as much as the Tarte, once again. The Tarte is like $28. This one's like $48 or $58. So I definitely recommend the Tarte. It's just a matter of preference. Like if you don't want to keep washing the Tarte one because the product will build up and it'll get really gross, then I would actually recommend you get this IT Cosmetics brush instead, because the bristles are longer and it won't build up as badly as the Tarte one. The head is nowhere as big as the air buffer though, like if you can see. And then I'm gonna talk about the Artiste brushes next. I have the Artiste Fluenta 7, or 6, sorry. The Artiste Fluenta Oval 6. This is, I would say this is better than foundation. It's better at concealer. The bristles are quite short, if you can see here. It's pretty short, and the handle is hollow, which is disappointing for something so expensive. I think this one is like $60. It retails $60. Yeah, it's made in the USA, but the handle is hollow, so I do like this, but I don't like it for foundation. I think it works better as a concealer brush because the bristles are so short, so it can really get your concealer into your skin. It's a little bit too small for my liking for foundation as well. And I will have to say that I've previously tried the regular Artiste Oval 6 or 7. Oh, I think it was like the 7, the one with the white handle, and that one, the head felt so flimsy. I was just like, I was afraid to use it at all. So yeah, that's the one thing I didn't like about their regular line. Here is the, sorry, I have to burp. Here's the Elite Oval 8. So this one is actually made in China, and the Fluenta, for some reason, okay, so the original, the white Artiste line, and the Elites are made in China, and the Fluenta is the more luxurious, more expensive line. Is made in the USA, of course. This Elite Oval 8 it's actually really big. It's like, I don't know, I feel like the 7 is the perfect size, but I ended up with the 8. The 8 is really good for just like quickly applying liquid foundation all over your forehead, your cheeks, your nose, your chin. It's not good for the sides of your face, like your temples, the nooks and crannies of your face, or like Cupid's bow area. It's not good for that, but it does smooth everything over your face very quickly. And the bristles are actually longer than the Fluenta Oval 6. If you can see here, I think it's like 1.5 times longer, maybe just like 1 time longer. But the hair length, the bristle length, actually makes quite a large difference. It doesn't absorb as much product, and it smooths everything over your face very nicely. So I do highly recommend this brush. I love it to bits. I forgot how much it retails for, but yeah, you can always check. I think it was like $70. I forgot. Okay, so moving on to more synthetic brushes. I have 2 more synthetic brushes, and then I'll go over natural hair brushes. So I have the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. I think that's what it's called. It doesn't say the name, so that bugs me, but I'm pretty sure it's the Ultimate Blending Brush, or is it the buffing brush? Blending, okay. So this is not a good foundation brush. I'm just gonna say that. I would definitely recommend it for powder, but it's not dense enough for foundation. I've tried it for foundation, for liquid foundation at least, and I didn't like it. Maybe it would be good for loose powder foundation. I'm not sure about that either, but I just know that it's good for setting powder and loose setting powder. And then I have the Real Techniques, what is this called? The buffing brush. This, I know people like this for foundation as well, but I actually don't like it. It's not dense enough, just like the e.l.f. brush. So I do really love this brush, but I would use it for its intended purpose. I would use it for buffing everything on my face, just finishing everything up, but I would not necessarily use it for like liquid or cream foundation. Next, I have a brush I've spoke of in my powder video, my goat powder video. This is the Chikuhodo Faux Pas, or no, sorry, it's not the Faux Pas. It's the LMPG that's discontinued and is now in the form of the Faux Pas one, the white Faux Pas one. This is a great multi-purpose brush. It's great for liquids, creams, powders, everything. So I did include this in my foundation video right now because I really love it for everything from start to finish for the entire face. I think you can even use this for blush, but definitely not for contour and not for highlight, but it's great for all those other things that I just mentioned. And it is very dense. If you can see, it's very dense, but it has good flexibility. It's not too like stiff or anything. I mean, that's why it's so good for just buffing in foundation very quickly as well. And then I have the Fude 7P. This is very interestingly shaped. It's like, I don't even, yeah, I can't describe it, but yeah, you can see. Kind of reminds you of like a weird haircut, right? If you can see the side, it's like this. This is actually, I believe these are made out of different types of hair. So the LMPG on the left is made out of Chikuhodo hair, which is quite soft. And then the Fude 7P on the right here is made out of like baby goat chest hair, but they didn't specify like what part or what type of the hair it is. They're around the same softness. I would say they're around the same, yeah. But the only thing is the Fude 7 on the right is, it's like the hairs are more yellow. I don't know if you can see in this lighting, but it's just more yellow overall as opposed to LMPG where it's whiter. And I haven't even used I haven't used these brushes that much. Like I've probably used the 7 a max of like four times. I've washed it and just kept it in its little brush guard like this. And yeah, this is really good for reaching into the sides of your face, the sides of your nose. It's a really great brush. It just, I think it also micro exfoliates your skin, so it makes your skin look a lot nicer in my opinion. So I do recommend these two a lot as well. And my last natural hair foundation brush that I have is the Ray Morris Radiance. This is the 27 Radiance. I think it's the older wood handle type. Like they have like a new one that's more expensive. This one's like 75 or something. The newer one is, I think it costs even more. But I believe this is some sort of Chikuhodo. It is made in China, I think, yeah. If you can compare them in person, like right here, I would say that the hair quality is definitely not as good as Chikuhodo's, and just the craftsmanship overall is not as good as the Japanese companies either. I think Chikuhodo has their own variants of this type of brush. Variant, I mean. Yeah, so this one actually applies kind of weirdly to like for me. It makes my face kind of itchy and I think it's streaky, but a lot of people online really love this brush and call it their holy grail. But to each their own, right? So thank you so much for watching and see you later.